Second, this is here. All right, Rabotai, Boker Oro Mevorach, Shavua Tov, Chodesh Tov Mevorach, and Baruch Hashem, we are Bekiim Bahalacha. We're in volume 3, and we are on day 64. Today, again, we're broadcasting from our studios in Miami, Florida, Surfside to be exact. And Baruch Hashem, B'reshut Arav, Elmaleh, Yarum Hodo, and B'reshut Kal Kadosh. So let's just review where we're holding over here. We're in the mitzvah of tzitzit, if you didn't know by now. And we've been talking extensively in the Pesh Urim, the famous mahloket that's brought down by the poskim, how to fulfill the mitzvah of tzitzit min Torah. There's a big mahloket between Maran and Rama. Maran holds, like the Shita of the Rambam, Rif, Sefer HaChinuch, we said the Rimegas, that they hold that the only way to fulfill the mitzvah deoraita is on a wool garment. And that's why the Sfaradim specifically should wear wool with wool strings. And the Ashkenazim hold like the other opinions, like Tosafot, that say that even if you wear a non-wool garment, for example, like cotton, and you wear cotton strings with it, or wool strings, which is universal, so you fulfill the mitzvah deoraita as well. Even the Mishnah Berurah brings down in Siman Tet that Yerei Shamayim should be strict to wear wool, even according to the Ashkenazim. He's not talking about Sfaradim. Sfaradim, that's the halacha. But he's saying even according to the Ashkenazim that are lenient, one Yerei Shamayim should be strict. And that's what we've been talking about the past couple of days. Today, we have to deal with some of the critics. There's some critics out there that want to say the following argument. They say, okay, listen, the Torah says that the tzitzit is a beged. And a beged, you have to have hana'ah from the beged. Beged, you enjoy the beged. You wear, but you don't wear a beged if it's going to cause you, hardship, if it's going to cause you difficulty. So therefore, they want to argue that if you're in the summer or you're in a hot location and you're wearing wool, which causes you to be uncomfortable and causes you to sweat and causes you to perspire and you feel very uncomfortable. And the proof is you don't wear any wool during the summer. So nobody's walking around with a wool jacket or nobody's wearing a wool sweater. So therefore, to go put on a wool tzitzit because he wants to fulfill the mitzvah, the oraita, it could be he's doing nothing because he's not having hana'ah from the beged, and therefore forget about the oraita. He gets no credit whatsoever. And there's a shita out there that they wanted to push that opinion, and they base it on a Tosafot. Listen to the Tosafot. The Tosafot is in Nida on page Samech Aleph 61b. Tosafot's language is like this. He's quoting a Rashbam, and the Rashbam writes, "Uperush Rashbam the enbo isur." Okay, continue. He says here, ופירוש רשב"ם דאין בו איסור אפילו לחי, כי אגב נשאר המת נהנה בו, וכאשר דהת ציצית נמה, אין החי חייב בו, אם אין בו הנעת לבישה. So Tosfot says that the living, he's talking about over here, the dead, putting tzitzit on the technichim, it's a separate discussion, but he says the living would not be hayav on tzitzit unless they're having a hana'ah. So there we have the big question, what does that do for us when it comes to wool tzitzit in the summer? So look at the note on 129. There is a basis to argue that it's impossible to fulfill the mitzvah tzitzit by wearing woolen talet katan on a hot day. Tosfot notes that a person is obligated to attach tzitzit to a garment only if he gains some physical pleasure. If the weather is so hot that the garment only adds to the person's discomfort, so it would seem that there was no mitzvah to wear such a garment with tzitzit attached. So there you have it. So Rosh Shlomo Zalman Oya B'Chalav Shalom rejected this argument. And he said that even wearing a woolen garment is uncomfortable, a person still fulfills the mitzvah of tzitzit. Why? When it is very hot any garment can add to one's discomfort. So what does that mean? You're not going to wear clothes? You're going to tell me in the summer when a guy walks around with like they walk around over here without a shirt on, without pants on, you're going to walk in the street naked because you're going to say he's not giving hana'ah? Of course not. That means even in the summer, as hot as it is, you still get dressed. People wear ties in the summer also, even though it's uncomfortable. Even though it's so what do you tell me now? Because my shirt is not giving me hana'ah, so therefore it's not considered a beged. It's a beged, and therefore he comes along and says, even though it might cause you extra heat, exhaustion, etc., when it's very hot, any garment can add to one's discomfort. But there was no question that one fulfills the mitzvah tzitzit by wearing a talit katan, regardless of the textile it's made of. The mitzvah is fulfilled because one wears the garment. He holds that that's the item, not because one receives physical pleasure from wearing it. So he doesn't argue, meaning we don't hold like this Tosafot Halacha. There's another Tosafot in Masechet Pesachim that seems to say the opposite. And therefore, Shlomo Zalman says, we hold as long as it's a beged. Hana'ah, no hana'ah, that's not going to be a factor. Moreover, since the talit katan is a normal item in one's daily wardrobe, for those people that wear it every day, it's normal to wear it whether or not he receives physical pleasure from wearing it or not. For this reason, no one questions the fact. Here's a big proof. If you're going to say that wearing a garment when you're not having a hana'ah is not considered a garment, so how can you wear talit katan on Shabbat? Because then already, if the garment is not a garment, so the strings are not considered mitzvah, and therefore you're carrying the strings. And nobody ever made a halacha in any book that said that on a hot day you can't wear talit katan because you're carrying unless you're in a place where there's a eruv. So therefore, Shlomo Zalman says, you see from that we don't follow this Tosafot. Again, if Tosafot was correct and that was the halacha, you should not be allowed to wear a talit katan on Shabbat in a hot day. In the summer. Why? Because if you say the beged is not a beged, therefore the sisiyot are not sisiyot, and therefore you're carrying the sisiyot. The only reason why you're allowed to wear sisiyot on Shabbat is because it's a beged, you're fulfilling the mitzvah, and therefore it's a takshit, it adorns the garment. But if it's just tassels that are hanging down, you have no purpose for them, it would be carrying. So therefore he comes along and he says, from the Petish Pesket Shuvot, that according to the Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, even the Tosafot in Nida would agree that a person always has physical, or listen to this, emotional satisfaction from wearing his talit katan, since it enables him to fulfill the mitzvah. That's a Bechadush. Now he's come along to say that you don't need to have physical enjoyment, but if a person has emotional, what's emotional? He's doing the mitzvah. So therefore, the Fum Sa'ar is very happy that he's sweating. He's happy that he's getting a mitzvah. For this reason, if you look at that, and by the way, we saw it Rav Moshe Feinstein. Rav Moshe Feinstein wrote in Igrot Moshe that even in the hot days of the summer, one should not exempt himself from wearing the talit katan from wool. Look at Bet in 128. Av b'yamim ha'hamim shebishat beged semed kasher yesh l'shtadel l'lbosh beged semed dafka. But even on the hot days, one should still make an extra effort to wear beged semed, the wool. Umishi kashelo. Now here's the big question. Somebody that's kashelo. Let's say he's going to say, "It's a rabbi. Either I'm not going to wear anything, or I'm going to wear cotton. I can't wear the wool." So what do you tell the guy? Don't wear anything? Of course not. And therefore, Cham Ben Sion says, you know what the best thing to do is? In the morning, let him put on talit katan wool. At least he'll get for a couple of minutes. Anyways, wearing talit gadol. But let him wear talit katan in the morning when it's still cool. Then in the afternoon, when it gets very hot, let him switch to a cotton garment. Look what he writes over here. He says, "Yilbash talit simim tchilat hayom." In the beginning of the day. U'shigbar ha'hom ya'lip the talit. Why? B'zeh yekayem b'chol yom av b'talit katam mitzvat sisim min haTorah lechol hadeot. Which means he doesn't want the person to use the heat as an excuse not to do nothing. So something is better than nothing. One time I was with in Chaba Vadyala, which was in America. He gave a shiur in Mikdash Melech. And then after the shiur, we were walking out. So one of the wise guys came up to him and he says, Rabbi, because he knows the rabbi's opinion with the ladies covering their hair. He holds that the ladies should cover their hair with a hat, with the big. And he's against the wigs. Okay, that's a Chaba opinion. So the guy's a wise guy. It's a Chaba. He says, is it better to wear a wig or to wear nothing? He wants to trap a Chama. He wants Chama to say, well, of course a wig. And then I had him on the record. Hey, Chama says, so Chama told him, he said, put a mitba'at, adip mitba'at. He didn't fall for the bait. He says, better to put a hat. But she's not going to wear a hat. Tell her to wear a hat. Why should she wear a hat? And he said, no, but Hakam, it's either this or that. He said, why is it this or that? Who told you? Maybe she'll wear a hat. I mean, he knew he was being set up over there. Now, after he left, I went there privately, because he knows I'm not a wise guy. I said, but Hakam, bottom line, of course, it's better something than nothing. But we shouldn't tell them that publicly, because then the people are going to say, oh, the rabbi said. Which means, now, by the way, a lot of the times the ladies that come along and they say, the men or the ladies that come, these ladies, they wear the wigs, they're nicer than the regular hair. They might be right. So what do I tell them? No, so what does your wife do? No, she does nothing. No, so shut up then. What are you talking about? She does nothing. Meaning you have no right to talk if you do nothing. If you tell me she wears a hat and a tichel and a thing over there, then you could be an ideologue. But to come along and do nothing, and then come along and say, must be you're doing more. No, I do nothing. So you're not even in the sugya of the argument. Same thing with the sisiyot. If a guy's going to come along and say, I don't wear sisiyot because it's too hot in the summer, and Maran says the only way you get there right, okay, we know that anyway. So wear cotton. So, but to do nothing clearly is not an excuse if you could do it to the banan, and therefore Chacham Ben Zion writes, Yelbash talitzim b'tchilat hayom, u'kshichbar hayom, when the heat gets stronger, yahrif et talit, u'bazeh yekayem bechol yom af betalit katan, mitzvat tzitzit min haTorah kol hayom. I want to remind you, this is a very important reminder. We did say from the Gemara in Achot, and I know we're repeating, but these are the important halachot to get in our minds, that at a moment of Idan L'Tcha, when God forbid there's danger in the world, then the Kadosh Baruch Hu judges the people even on mitzvot that they're not obligated in, like tzitzit. And therefore, who knows if now is Idan L'Tcha? We don't know, but the world looks like it's an Idan L'Tcha. And therefore, one should be extra meticulous in order to wear the tzitziot, specifically if he can. But look at the Chacham Ben Zion. He's even part of the day is better. I would say, you know what, just wear cotton. He said, no. From 6 in the morning till 12 o'clock when it's still, a little cool, but put the wool. Then go home, change it. I mean, look how mahmir they're being just to be yotzeh a deoraita even for part of the day. Again, when it comes to the beracha, Ronen, I review this. One of our members called me on Friday, Malcolm, when he left me a long email message. He's one of the followers, Yerum Odo. So he came along and said, he just wants to get clarity, and I can't be clearer. When do we make the beracha on the talet katan? Most of the times, you're not going to make a beracha because it's not the right shi'ur. The only time you're going to make the beracha on talet katan if it's the size 26 or more. Most people, but because we can't also, we make berachot on mitzvah rabbanan. We make it, most of the berachot we make is on the rabbanan. A lady likes candles on Friday night. She doesn't make a beracha. That's the rabbanan. Menorah. You don't make a beracha. It's the rabbanan. Megillat Esther. We make berachot on the rabbanan. When you dip kelim in the mikveh, glass, we make a beracha, even though it's only with the rabbanan. So that we make a beracha, but I'm telling you, you don't have these garments that are available. The size I have it, I'm wearing it. They go out to here. It's like it's a football player. It has the guards, the shoulder pads, exactly. But nonetheless, we repeat that if you're not wearing a garment, it does not mean you're not fulfilling the mitzvah deoraita. There's two separate things. There's beracha and there's deoraita. If it's wool, it's deoraita. Beracha is a separate item because when it comes to beracha, we don't want to say Hashem's name in vain. And since there's some opinions that say the shoot has to be, gadol. Okay, so therefore we hedge when it comes to the beracha, but it has no bearings on the mitzvah. Doraita, you're still fulfilling the mitzvah doraita. And anyway, that is today's word. Tomorrow, Rabotai, is a very important offering. Now, I'm not obligated to give you coming attractions, but tomorrow. And there's going to be on day 65 very important items on other garments that people wear, including synthetic garments. A lot of people today wearing the rayon and all these other plastic and different garments. They get them for cheap, and there's holes in them, and it feels comfortable. We're going to see tomorrow a very important opinion of Hacham, what he holds on these synthetic garments, and also we're going to learn about the color of the sisiyot. Today, Baruch Hashem, they have different colors. The kids, okay, leave the kids. Azak Baruch, AJ, the army. The army's wearing camouflage. Now, maybe when it comes to the army, they have no choice to wear camouflage because of security. But what about when the guys that want to act like IDF soldiers in Brooklyn and they're not in the army? But when they're with the army, they're fighting. Besides their wife, and then they're fighting every day. So therefore, and they're wearing the green CCO. So because it's fairness, that's an item now. Everyone's wearing the green CCO because they want to feel connected to Eretz Israel. Well, you might have a better connection wearing the white, and that may be a bigger zikut. So tomorrow we have two items: color and the synthetic fabric. So stay tuned for that.